Hello, back with another VOD review. This is a Diamond Sojourn player. They've posted this in a thread that I made on Reddit, Overwatch University, offering some VOD reviews to anyone who sends in a code. Basically, they have just asked for any info around one or two things that they can focus on moving forward, essentially. So we'll have a bit of a squiz and see what's happening. Just fix the timing. Cool. It's like actually like pretty good team comp on both teams. Pretty like poke heavy, right? Both teams are running two main DPS. Both teams are running two main healers. The main like difference would be the Ram to Sig matchup. I like taking this angle at the start. I think so long as you like establish that there isn't like a Widowmaker or an Ashe that's going to outrange you here, then this feels like a really good angle to like build a railgun charge. We've got our railgun, so mission accomplished. We're just looking for an opportunity to rip someone's head off right now. There is a Hanzo on your right, but obviously because he's DPing, like to get him, you probably have to swing wider and wider and wider. So we'll see what you do. I feel like inevitably someone's going to peek like this angle. I think that's the Cassidy there. That is the Cassidy. So I feel like there's a good opportunity to just, I see the Ana crossing the angle. Obviously it's unfortunate the Ana crosses the angle at the same time a rock comes at us, so we do have to DP that. But it looks like they're going to peek it again, and we rip the Cass's head off. So a pretty predictable outcome there, and I think well played by us. I think already you've shown like that you understand. Like I'm not sure about the backstep here though, right? Like I think everything up until here looked really good. Like we get a pick. Like I'm not saying we need to like slide engage, but like you're almost full health. Like most of your team is full health. You showed like the right cycle at the start here of like just play for a railgun. Like your main goal is just to build a rail and then look for an opportunity to rip someone's head off. That's all good, but like you getting a pick shouldn't really like prompt you to like backstep, especially because like the rest of your team is walking forwards for the most part, right? So you're like pretty far behind now. Truthfully, I think if you don't backstep, I reckon you could have built another rail and killed that Hanzo as well. So you probably could have been fighting a 5v3 by now. So like, you know, think about the idea of like, is my team playing at advantage or disadvantage? And, you know, obviously key things are numbers on both sides, relative positioning, as well as like health pools and resources and ultimate. So there's lots of things that constitute an advantage or a disadvantage, but you know, most people are full health. It's 5v4, and we obviously don't need to worry about ultimates this early into the game. You know, when we get that pick, let's try and keep the pressure on, keep walking forwards, not right in front of our team, but you know, like we don't need to backstep when we're playing from a position of advantage. The enemy team has to backstep. They've done that anyway. The rest of your team pushed forward, although you backstepped. Given their relative positioning, given that you can see that everyone jumped off the high ground, I'd probably like to see you like scoot on up there onto this high ground where the VAP's just gone. I think it's okay to do like a bit of poking from here, but like you've got like a more challenging angle, right? Because if you swing too wide this way and the Hanzo lands like a juicy heady on you, or multiple players hit you, like it's not too good. You also ideally don't want to like take this narrow swing here directly behind your ram, because damage that's going to be aimed at your ram is like potentially just going to hit you as well, so you're going to take unnecessary poke. I think, you know, pretty clear, obvious, we want to get the high ground. All right, you do that as well. Right decision, just like 1 or 2 seconds too late. We're kind of just shooting the ground right now, but I get what we're going for. Like we're trying to hit the Hanzo. We're just not quite doing it. I think this is fine. Again, like our pattern right now is we just want to build a rail. So we've got our rail. It looks like we're taking a rotation with it though. So I think this is like a lot of unnecessary downtime and like time wasted, right? Like we get our rail here. All right, hang on 1 second. All right, 3, 2, 1. We've got our rail, right? We're in an ideal position on the high ground. There's very few threats that can hit us. If we want to hit one of their squishy backliners, we can peek and walk to this corner and we can see both of them. Otherwise, we know for sure that the Hans is in there because we were just shooting him. We don't necessarily know for sure that the Cass is there, like respawned, right? But we would predict that he's probably on his way back at some point, and he's only going to come from one or two places there or there. This rotation feels like really long. Like we've got rail, let's just use our rail, right? Mission accomplished. Like I said before, we built our rail. That's all we're trying to do there. This rotation feels really weird. Also, it feels like you would have to go really close because you still can't see anyone's head. Still, all right, now you can see. I mean, think about like how close you are to the enemy team. Are you tracking cooldowns right now? Does the Ana have a sleep dart? Does the Sigma have a rock? What would happen right now if the Sigma turned and rocked you? I mean, I guess you would slide back, right? Because you've presumably got your slide available at this point. Yep. But it just feels like I don't know why we would essentially walk up here into like melee range. Like, you know, we can. I mean, imagine if we were up here right now, like Hanzo's dead, right? We've just manufactured another advantage for our team. And instead we kind of go down here, we like body shot a Juno, we put down, sorry, not a Juno, a Kiriko, we put down our E, and it kind of feels like we just wasted a bunch of time. Hanzo's dead, you and Bap take care of that, but I feel like if you just stay up here, you can either try and rip the head off one of these players or just kill the Hanzo a bit earlier, right? So we've got our slide cooldown, we've killed the Hanzo there. Likewise before, where the enemy team had like no choice but to rotate this way, they pretty much now have no choice but to rotate back this way, right? I don't think that they could possibly safely cross here. Like the Sigma could maybe, but like his supports are going to have a lot of difficulty crossing this. So you're on the high ground, your angle is getting narrower and narrower, so you essentially have two choices. Three, I guess. You could walk down the staircase again, but that didn't work out before, so I don't imagine that you do that. You could either drop and swing wide, or you could actually just slide over, to be honest, because it's very unlikely that you'd get punished for sliding from high ground to high ground. Obviously, you don't like want to use slide as an engagement tool all the time, but it's not really an engagement. It would just be, you know, a rotation from one high ground to another. So option 1, down the staircase. Option 2, go over to this direction. Option 3, go this way. This way would obviously be like the longest rotation that would have the most amount of downtime. Again, like I spoke about with how you killed the cast before and then you backstepped, it's like you're playing from a position of strength, a position of advantage. Like your team has a player advantage, your team also has a positional advantage because their map control is getting narrower and narrower. So we want to leverage this. We want to try and snowball this advantage as much as possible. So ideally we would either drop and walk this way or we would slide across this way. Okay, option 3. We also like use our slide there, which makes no. I imagine you were trying to jump over the roof or something, but this feels like again like a lot of downtime when your team is playing from a positional advantage. You're also doing it without a rail. So unlike this one, which like was kind of silly when you came down here, at least you had a rail to like potentially get that kill straight away. Because you're coming down here with 0 energy, you don't actually have like very good pick potential, right? Because before you can pick anyone, you have to like shoot them to build your railgun. So like we don't want to like take this wide swing angle at 0 energy, because by the time you built a rail, I imagine that the enemy team is going to be painfully aware of your existence, right? Slide engage, so our team kills the cast, so they're still down both DPS. Yeah, I guess this is, I feel like she's just given up, right? Yeah, I guess she just gave up, because it isn't probably like 90% chance that they win, that they lose this team fight down both DPS, right? So the Ana kind of gives up. Always like potentially risky to like use slide as an engagement tool, as I mentioned before, like going from high ground to high ground would be fine. It's just like if this Ana is like kind of like, she's kind of like bad with it and hits a sleep dart and then a follow-up shot nade combo, she kills you. Your BAP actually also just died, so in theory, like if this Ana was to somehow like clutch this out, if she has cooldowns, which she doesn't, but I'm not thinking that you know that, because I'm thinking that both cooldowns got used while you were taking the rotation. That's nade. that sleep. So yeah, okay, maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'll say that you were probably aware that at least one, if not both, cooldowns were down. So if that's the case, then this engagement feels okay, right? Because it's, even though you have no charge, you're still probably gonna win this 1v1, but the end ends up giving up, so it's irrelevant. We clean up the rest of the fight. We kind of lose track of the Kiriko. Kiriko gets out. So we've actually lost 2. But because their tank died so late, I don't think that there's going to be any kind of contest here. This is fine. We're capping the point. We're trying to build some railgun. No worries. Alright, so we're taking our angle at the start. Makes sense. We see the Sonic. We decide not to go that way. We go back to cart. The safe and conservative option. I think you, especially because your Kiriko was down here, she just TP'd out, but she might have TP'd out because she realized you weren't there anymore. I think you could like safely sort of jiggle peek this and build a rail. You're obviously even safer back there, but if Kiriko's in here with you, maybe you can like hold that slight off angle a little bit longer. Didn't quite connect that rail, but that's all right. At least like, you know, the fundamentals are sort of there. Like I'm not seeing you build rail on a tank and then railgun the tank. The aim's just like not quite there. I still feel like you're like super far back and passive, even recognizing that you're low on health. Like I think you could have been getting more value by like playing this angle. And then once the cart started rolling up, you just like move out with your team, right? We saw this at the first point and we're seeing it again now where like you're not keeping up with the tempo or the pace of the game very well, right? Like your team plays from a position of advantage before and you back up. Your team is all walking forwards and you're still backing up. You're less likely to get a heal now as well because the problem with playing so far back is that your supports can't actually see you. And if supports can't see you, they're less likely, generally speaking, to heal you. Like you'll have to start like pushing the I need healing button quite a lot. And I feel like that's really limiting your ability to like contribute to this fight. We missed all of our rails and we're sort of just like long range shooting at a Sigma and we just right clicked him when he had his grasp up. But our team is just like running over them here. So, okay. Maybe not. Ram chooses not to put his hands up and dies, I guess. We're back to this issue of like, okay, we're actually like potentially on a really good off angle here that could like clutch it up. But we're starting our off angle with 0 energy, right? So by the time you build a rail, they're going to know you're here. The Hanzo isn't reacting to you, which is good, but the Hanzo is just killing your team, so yeah, right. Bit of a like bummer that your Ram dies after killing the Sig. I assume that he ran out of Nemesis form and just didn't put his hands up or something. No, he's just punching outside of punch range and taking like infinite damage and doesn't put his hands up. Well, you can't really help that, can you? But I do feel like ultimately there was good opportunities for you to like be further up, to take more positioning. Like when the cart got to here, if you're in this window, right, because the enemy team was dropping off, you could have like made this rotation around to here, gone up to here, and probably you would have been up here before the Ram died. So you would have been up here shooting down at players from here. If they rotated back here, you could come back over here. It's not like technically an off angle because your Ramattra is there. So like, you know, they just look at you, look at the Ramattra, but at least it's like one more damage threat. Maybe somebody shoots you instead of the Ramattra. Maybe the Ramattra lives. I don't know. But I think you're like really passive during most of this fight. Wait, what? Did I? Oh, right. Sorry. I went back too far. Where I left off last time was you fighting the cast and then suddenly you're peeking that angle and I was like, how the fuck did you live? But it's because I went back too far.
I think I can.
All right, we're back. Our team's all on the floor. We're walking up. Our BAP is in trouble. Our BAP is dead. So
Disrupting.
not sure about any of those cooldowns. Maybe we're trying to like avenge our BAP. Maybe you're on voice comms and BAP's like, he's won. Which like he kind of was, I guess. But there's not really much you can do about it. I think you'd be better off just like taking this angle and looking to like start to swing around. Or alternatively, just going this way with your team right now. Because your team's a player down. You're already in a position where like you're looking for like a valuable trade that doesn't get you killed. So I think like potentially like shifting in and then also like whiffing our disruptor shot is like not a good start to that, right? Without your shift, like it's harder for you to take your next turn, right? Like your turn as Sojourn is dictated by like a few key things. Like, do I have shift available? Do I have railgun charge? And do I have health? A few more like things is obviously like how many people are looking at me, but that also like depends on your health pool. Like how many shots can you take, right? So like you don't have railgun charge, you don't have your shift, you don't have disruptor shot, but you do have full health. So like you can take a soft turn. Like you could be shooting these players right now, if you had your shift up, because you could safely get out. However, because you don't have your shift up, the reality is if you choose to fight these two players on this corner now, you might just get run over and die, right? So I think you're making the right decision to rotate around, but it is a bit of a shame that we use our cooldowns for nothing. So essentially we give up the opportunity to like take a turn there. Shooting a shield. So I'm hearing footsteps and my game sound is super, super low while I do the review. So you should be hearing footsteps too. There's a Cassidy to your right. I think he's above you, but he's definitely to your right somewhere. All right, we're looking. Don't think we ever quite realized where he was, but ultimately okay, I was going to say we don't die, but we do die. That fight was always going to be hard because obviously you started a support down, your team invested a support ult, but again I think like there's no need for us to like slide and try and do all that shit. Like BAP died, you know, like even if BAP calls that he's 1 HP, like realistically like he's on the high ground, it's so hard for you to like do anything from like here, right? Let's just conserve our cooldowns and try and take like a proper turn instead of like a forced rush turn that we just whiff everything on. So we're in the situation again, like, are we playing Widowmaker or are we playing Sojourn? Because this is Widowmaker positioning right now. Let's look at our team and look at us, right? Like, okay, you're 100 health, I get that, but like, you're 100 health because you took a headshot from a Kiriko, and you're going to remain at 100 health because you're in another postcode from your team, right? Like, think about it from like the support's point of view. Like, why would the supports be like looking back, being like, I wonder if my Sojourn, who is like at the wrong point on the map, needs any help? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just too far back here, and I'm not sure if that's because you respawn super late. Like maybe there's like a good explanation for you being so far back. I mean, you're in line with your Sigma right now. The rest of your team is walking. You're walking back. Your team is walking forwards, and I just saw you walk backwards. So again, I think there's an issue with you understanding like the push and pull and the tempo of the game. Like this is Widowmaker positioning, not Sojourn positioning. I guess you're just like waiting for a heal, but like, or you're waiting for someone to poke and shoot you. But the reality is like your passive health is going to heal you up. Your passive regeneration will heal you before the supports look at you, just because you're so far back. I mean, you probably wouldn't have gotten a kill then, right? Like you didn't have like enough charge, but it makes sense. Like if you do hit that headshot, like yeah, he'll be like just below half health, right? It might make him de-peak for a little bit, take some pressure off your team. At the end of the day, like I don't hate that railgun attempt. So the key things that dictate whether or not we can take a turn as Sojourn: railgun charge, slide, health, and / how many people are looking at us. So got no railgun charge. We're sliding in. Do we know what's there? We know that our team is around this area, but we also know that our team is critical health. We're sort of sliding like 5 meters here. I feel like there's a world in which we can just walk from here to here and keep our slide available, because maybe we don't know exactly what's around this corner at this stage, right? It means that like if you wanted, you could still like, if you really wanted, you could like do an aggressive slide from like here to here and like use this bit for cover and finish off this cast to stop him like making a rotation around you. It means that if this Sigma was to drop on your head right now and start charging a rock at you, instead of having to like do some miracle AD strafe, you can just slide away from it, right? Like I talked about this in a Kiriko VOD review recently, but like, let's not use TP, let's not use slide just to move like 5 meters that we could have walked anyway.
This ends now.
It's a bold move to pop your ult when the soldier pops his. Let's see if this pays off, if we get any value here. You're using it on different angles, which is key. Like, it would be even worse if you were standing next to him and you both use it on the same angle. Right, so we've heard him ult. It's 2 full seconds after he ults to we ult. Is there a world in which we just say, like, think in our head, like, I'm just going to wait and see, like, what value my soldier gets. Like, you know, if my soldier starts getting picks, then I guess I don't need my ult. But if he doesn't start getting picks, maybe I'll layer my ult into this, because we do need to win this team fight. I think, like, there's a world in which you just give it a few seconds and see what we're getting with the visor before you pop your ult, because I predict that given that he kills 2 people pretty much straight away, that your ult kind of just gets nothing in the end, right? Like, maybe you'll get him, but he's dead anyway, right? There's a visor shooting him. Soldier couldn't possibly have died because Sigma was eating Hanzo's shots. The Kiriko was pocketing Soldier anyway. Yeah, I think a bit of a wasted ult, right? Bap dies, but you having ult or not having ult available doesn't change the outcome of Bap dying.
Back to basics.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I want to see you get up onto this high ground, and I want to see you take like a slightly different angle to shoot these people. Like, walk up, get above him. That's really good to see. All these players want to do right now is trade kills, so it's important that we don't let them do that. Going on the high ground, that's what we want to see. So I'd like to see you take like this angle here for now, rather than going deep all the way over here, just because, like, if anyone comes here, it's really good if you can contest them from up here. From over here, it feels a bit more sketchy to like contest both angles, right? Like, it's easy to get out rotated. And maybe once you feel confident that there's definitely 3 players on this doorway, or at least that both of their DPS are on the doorway, you can like move up and take this closer angle, right? Because you know that the Sigma and the Kiri only both just died. It's fine too, but like, as I said, like, someone's going down to take that angle. It would be really nice. That sucks, but I don't think there's anything that you're doing wrong that results in your Kiriko dying. There's now 2 players taking that angle. The reason, like, you don't need to be taking this main angle straight away is, like, that's where the card is, that's where your teammates are. There's, you know, up until the Kiri got 1-tapped, there's already 3 people looking at and marking this angle, right? Like, I think, like, you need to recognize, like, what your team is doing, and I think that this is, you know, something that we're still seeing throughout this game, of you being behind your team way too far back when they're pushing forward, when they're walking up. I think not understanding the idea that there are 3 people on this angle and no one here. You can still shoot there from here, but from here you can also more effectively mark any potential flank or off angle. And I feel like whenever I play this map and it's in a situation like this where the card is getting close, the enemy team is wiped, it's really, really rare for me to ever see 5 people walk out these doors, right? Like, someone always has the idea of taking the split push, because I feel like you almost can't retake without the split push unless you have huge ult advantages, right? Because it's like, how the fuck do you get 5 people through this doorway or this doorway with 5 people marking it, right? Like, there has to be someone coming from over here. You're here now, slightly too late, but it would be really, really nice if you were here with the disruptor shot ready to go. You force out the Ana, you take some damage for it. I think overall you're fine. The BAP's going to give you some pocket. So, oh, okay. And then we get some more charge on the Kiriko. I don't hate the idea of railing. Obviously, she's going to be out of sight in a second. I think there was like a higher maybe kill potential if you were here the whole time, but ultimately you did more or less do your job here, and you 2 people tried to take this angle and you've denied it from them. Technically 3, because the Kiriko's come in here. And because the Kiriko's come in here as well, I imagine that these 2 players here are going to be in a little bit of strife. The Ana's nearly rotated back. But, you know, like, you also caused a bunch of downtime from essentially 3 different players who saw you, were like, shit, we can't beat a Sojourn on the high ground. and then had to like waste time rotating back. It's just a bit of a shame that like nobody pushed the cart at all during this phase, right? Both your supports are dead.
That warms the bones.
Push the payload.
I
Focus up and move the
get it.
payload.
I wouldn't, if you're thinking, shit, no one's pushing the cart, I might have to drop. I totally get it. I wouldn't drop though, because you've got the best possible positioning that you could ask for. If you drop and if someone on their team decides to try and make that rotation again, you're going to have to like go around here, or I think you can like jump up from there, right? But like, don't give up the ideal positioning. Like, you're doing the right thing. You just need someone on your team to touch the fucking cart. And there's a tremendous amount of downtime there again, right? Like, when do we rotate off that angle? I think I've just hit 15 seconds back. So we stop contributing at 2:01.
That warms the bones.
We start contributing again at 1:48. So we have 13 seconds of downtime during this team fight. I understand it's frustrating not having anyone push the cart, but like, you know, you can, if you're in voice, just say, hey, we need someone on the cart, or you can hit the button, like the ping button, and then just keep doing your thing, right? Like, you don't need to like turn away and do whatever for like 13 seconds. Your team killed the enemy. It was the Hanzo that died, wasn't it? Oh, the Cass. I think he was on Hanzo though, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, you guys picked one of their DPS. I think it's important for you to like, again, like recognize when your team's at advantage and keep that pressure on them, right?
Area denial.
Who did we just nano? Oh, the Sig, right? Okay, cool. There's nothing you can do to like kill the Sig. He's going to be too durable. So like your focus right now is just, I don't want these players to easily be able to get out here and help. And it seemed like you were doing that for a second, but now we're making the wrong decision, because not only are we shooting someone that realistically, like, you're just not going to do that much damage against, right? Like, he's got 50% damage reduction right now. He's potentially got like 1 or 2 supports that are going to start pocketing him. Not only do we shoot the wrong target, but in doing that, we're turning our back to 4 enemy players who are all going to shoot us, right? Like, how do you expect to make a reasonable contribution to killing the Sigma while ignoring 4 players that are all going to start shooting you because they can see that you're not shooting them back, right? So you need to like focus on your role. The Sigma is not, okay, we turn back, that's good. I think we only turn back because we realize that we're taking damage though, right? The Sigma is not your responsibility right now. 4 players have just walked out like basically at the same time, and unfortunately they've been allowed to do that a bit too freely, right? Like, you should have already been like halfway to a railgun charge. Like, you should be like 50% by shooting back at these players right now. And if you have that 50% railgun charge right now, I think you're going to get this kill anyway. Oh, we miss. Shit. But like, I think that Kiriko is dead before that Kitsune Rush goes down. Okay? Like, so Sigma, not our responsibility. We're opening our angle to too many different like threats from this left side. We need to focus on like, what's good value for us? What can we control? What's the best contribution we can make? And basically trying to lock in these players was going to be a much better contribution. This is probably, I'm going to say like, this is actually like 100% a lost team fight now, because your team has to fight in a Kitsune Rush with no ults and your Kiriko is dead. You wouldn't have been able to hold this angle indefinitely against 4 people, right? They would start shooting back. That's the reality. But if you can delay this a little bit more, as I said, if you can just get that little bit of railgun charge, so long as you hit the shot, this Kiriko ult would not be here right now. Your Kiriko would still be dead, but it feels a lot more winnable with without them playing inside of a rush, right? Bummer. Did we just get the high ground for free? Oh no, they were up here. Okay. What forced them up? So our soldier's up there, you're up there. Our soldier just hits a direct helix rocket. Fair enough. All right, that's easy. Basically high ground for free, right? You being up there obviously creates slightly more of a threat, but I think like they would have dropped regardless. All right, this is good. So I want to see you take this angle for now. Exactly the same principles and reasoning as before. Good. So now you're actually understanding the tempo of the game, and your team isn't, because your team is still in bumfuck nowhere, despite the fact that you guys have full high ground control, and despite the fact that you guys just got a pick. So you're actually demonstrating like the awareness that like, hey, we have an advantage, we need to move forward, and your team is kind of like lingering at the moment. So this is a big reversal to what we saw for the rest of the game. You don't need to look back. There's nothing behind you. All right, we hear it. We hear the Kiriko. We seemingly like don't understand where she is, but we don't die to it. Tragic. I'll be honest, if you play this angle like I'm telling you to do this whole time, you would have seen the Kiriko attempt to wall climb. In fact, I don't think that she would have wall climbed with you looking at her. Now, the reason this is so important is, although you don't die to the Kiriko, hang on, we might have to give it a few more seconds. You don't die to the Kiriko, but look at this. That Anna, 110% dead if you're just here to shoot at her, right? And you can probably clean up the Kiriko in this process as well. So again, we walk back for no reason. We look back behind us for no reason. Okay, we get a bit confused about the Kiriko's footsteps, which I can understand, but if you just move to like better positioning at the start, I think like your contribution can be like so significantly higher. The Anna lives, and that was a good flux. I think the Anna's still dead actually, yeah. The Anna's still dead, but realistically, like you needed to be here to contribute and follow up on that flux, and I'm thinking you probably could have killed the Kiriko too. But this is fine, shooting tank for now. We just want to build our railgun. I guess that's fair, like you're worried about dying to poke, so you just take the rail shot while you have it. Looks like this is a wrap. I think there's inherently nothing wrong with just getting some cart progress here as well, by the way. Like the point isn't really like, if you were to like kill players now, like the card is so far back that like it's not quite as like meaningful, right? Like you want to start like really getting picks and stuff when the cart gets to here, because that way you're getting like meaningful cart progress. Like in like 95% of games, you're guaranteed to get the cart from here to here for free anyway, right? So maybe it's better to actually just save a few seconds off the clock and stack on the cart, because even if you get a pick now, I think that they'll be respawned by the time like the meaningful fight starts, unless your team manages to just like keep the snowball going. This angle's fine, I guess. I assume that we're going to go for the deeper left angle. We're going to take high ground instead. Okay. We have most of the things that we need to take a turn. We have 2 slides because we've taken the slide perk. We've got full health. We just don't have a railgun charge, but that's fine. I like that. I like that. Perfect. Easy. There was some really good damage, like follow up from your team. It looks like they took a Helix rocket just as you went. So it's like perfect timed. Fantastic. I think he's below you, not behind you. I'm wondering if we might need to tweak your sound settings a bit, because you keep looking over here. Again, like I think my in-game sound is 7. I usually play on 37. So like I can clearly hear that he's below you. If you can't, then you need to look at your sound settings. So we're back to kind of doing fuck all for a while here. We get confused about the cast, but you know, I think thinking about like downtime again, and again thinking about like our advantage. All right, we've killed 2 people. What do we want to do right now? Maybe at first we get confused about the cast, but like surely we want to move over here and keep the pressure up. Can we keep a snowball going? Can we keep snowballing this? We've killed 2. If your team does a bit of chip damage on someone and then they fall back here, and then you can convert that into a kill, the snowball continues, and instead of having to take like multiple fights for this team for this checkpoint, you can probably just take 1 fight. Like if you get 1 more pick now, then it probably comes down to like a single team fight. And this wasn't really a team fight. Like these players up here just died to like pre-fight poke essentially, right? So I'd say that like, all right, we have to walk forwards, obviously. We get a bit confused about the cast at 109. It's 109. we've started contributing again now. So that's 15 seconds that we just did sweet fuck all. 15 seconds that you could have come here and help like poke out some damage. Now, obviously a soldier would have run up into you, but that's fine. Like so long as you're actually conscious and aware of him, you have 2 slides, you'll be fine. You can slide once and then slide back if you need to, right? But I wonder, like, if we rewind back to roughly 109, 108, that'll do. If you had have just come to this point now, what kills, what value could you have gotten? I think that you would have made 1 or 2 of these players look at you for sure. I think like you'd have a Kiriko TPing into you right now, which, you know, she's got no TP. You can just beam her down. You might have been able to build a rail by now. I think right here you could have railed the Cassidy, obviously. And then it's only like just now that the soldier starts coming up and would have been a threat. So the soldier might have diverted your attention just before you can get the rail on the cast, but I feel like there's a good opportunity for you to create more of an angle, potentially kill the Kiriko and whatnot from up here. So we really need to work in our uptime. Like, we can't have this like long decision making of, okay, I got 2 kills, how good is that? Like, what am I going to do now? Right? Like the answer is you're going to move forward, you're going to take another angle, and you're going to try and continue the snowball. So they just use 2 DPS ults. Obviously we're okay. Kiriko doesn't believe in pushing S. Kiriko believes we could sooner rush into a Deadeye and a High Noon. This is obviously not the right choice to make. But we trade, okay. And say we trade for the tank, so it starts to look moderately winnable until you die. Soldier also doesn't agree with my analysis and thinks that it's winnable. Soldier gets nothing. Alright, I mean we need to work in our jumps out of spawn as well. We're just like losing another half a second each time we hit the rooftop. It's a bit of a shame. I think this fight potentially goes so much better if you take that angle earlier on. I genuinely think that your team would have just capped, especially with you building it all. Yes, the soldier would have forced you out. Yes, the soldier would have still used visor. You would have been in a better position to fall back to your team, especially if you picked the Kiriko or had railgun charge earlier. Particularly with like your ult will beat the visor, right? Like he needs like quite a few bullets to kill you. Assuming that you've taken the railgun perk. I didn't actually check. Where are you? Is that the railgun perk? I don't think that's the railgun perk. Are you taking the disruptor shot perk? Because you should definitely 100% without exception take the extra damage on the railgun perk for the miner. Maybe I'm getting the icons wrong, but like it is infinitely more valuable to be able to just rip someone's head off in an overclock and get the guaranteed one shot by having 150 energy, right? It's so much more valuable to just get that guaranteed one tap. And you've shown that like for the most part you have okay aim, so I feel like you can probably do it right. I would literally never ever take that disruptor shot perk. I don't think I've ever seen someone take that in like one of my lobbies. But I really feel like that's a winnable fight if you just have better uptime and do what you need to do there. Careful about launching disruptor shots sort of willy-nilly into Doomfists because you've just given him a free punch.
This ends now.
Nice. Get him. Ooh. Don't get him like that though. That's a bit risky, isn't it? I think you're gonna live. Yeah, you get some really good pocket there. I don't know that I would have slid in for that one personally. I think with the position of the enemy team where you know that the sports are on the left here, and you'd have to know that, right? Because you saw them rotate a few seconds ago when the window went out. I think instead of like trying to like hard commit this much and sort of risk getting traded out yourself, I think you can just like walk up on this soldier a little bit, and if you notice that he does this juke, then you could slide back and finish him off. It feels really risky right now, and you dying here when there's enough time for the enemy team to contest the cart could easily result in your team not getting the full cap. You get some really good pocket. Nice, you help kill the Doom. Seems like it's a lock. Cool. Oh shit, we lost the first point instantly. What one's the wrong? So our initial angle seems reasonable enough. Obviously there's the Widowmaker hazard standing there, but I assume that you scouted that at the start. Kiriko's in a bit of trouble. The disruptor shot helps to discourage the monkey from following, which is good. We're building another rail. I don't like the shift up there because you know that they're running a monkey. So if you get dove now in the next like 5 seconds and he bubbles you, you can't get out of that bubble. Right, you have shift again now. I would have just fallen back this way and then started like looking for poke through here, and I would keep my slide available to either go up if I needed to, or to get back and disengage. I think because you already had 2 players up there, like I talked about this in another couple of VOD reviews recently, but when you are running 2 main DPS and you didn't really have this issue much on attack, but you don't want to play the same angle. So like if we go back to like your POV, I assume that you're aware that they're both up there at that time. Yeah, we look up. So we don't want to stack angles with our soldier or our BAP. In an ideal world, we want you, soldier, and BAP to have 3 different angles as much as possible. It doesn't mean you need to be like in bumfuck nowhere. Like, you know, you don't need to be like playing like all the way fucking over here by yourself, although unironically this actually might be okay. But like, you know, ideally you'd have like an angle here, and even like an angle here, right? So even though like the 2 players on the high ground are not like true off angles, it's at least like not stacking quite so hard, right? And as the fight breaks down, you want to ideally have like someone up here, someone over there, and then maybe someone that potentially like rotates up here or whatever, right? But the trouble with playing 2 main DPS, 2 hit scans, if that makes it simpler, is like it's really weak when you end up like stacking together and playing the same angle, because it means that the enemy team only has to worry about 1 angle instead of like 2 angles or 3 angles. We end up dropping, which I feel is the right decision, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you thought about the whole angles thing as well. BAP's in trouble, but realistically we can't really kill the monkey if it's inside the bubble, so I think this is the right decision to make. We feel like we're boxing ourselves in a corner. So I can see how this team fight is going bad, because like when we fall back, we don't want to fall back to here because we're in a little corner. The only option now is to, if we want to fall back further, is potentially for most of these players to walk into here. And I feel like most of the time, once you walk into here, you are not getting back out. Whereas when you walk into here, you've got multiple options. You can go this way, you can go up to the high ground, or if you want to get crazy with it, you can do a long rotation over here. But don't like this fallback position from you or from the team. And I think especially because of the range threat, you need to slide over this way pretty urgently. You're dead. Oh, you're not dead, but you get lamped. You get lamped and there's a Zuzu. So we have no lamp, no Zuzu, but at least we're getting to be like slightly better positioned, right? We're still kind of boxed up, so we still need like you or the soldier to get into this position and then the other one of you to play from around here, but it's better than being over there. Again, we're just so far back, right? Like we're full health. Why are we behind our supports? Our supports are not too far forward. You are too far back. Okay, that support is now too far forward. But again, I like strongly feel that if you're playing from here, you can really help contest these 2 players and give them some struggle to like make a valuable contribution to the fight, right? And that will allow the rest of your team to focus on this fight here, I feel. Because like there's a shield blocking most of that incoming damage, except for the Ashe, who can take a wide swing. So if you're here to stop that Ashe from taking a wide swing, then there's 2 players that are doing nothing. And the trade-off is that you're looking at them and there's a Sigma shield there, but the Sigma shield isn't going to help save them from the monkey anyway, right? So this seems like the right position and the right play to make. You're just too far back. Because we had to lamp you before, and I feel that the lamp was it just for you? It was just for you. Going off the health pools, I would assume that the slamp is just for you, right? we don't have lamp when we need it. And we don't have lamp because there's no dive right now. Like you've been lamped because you've taken too much poke damage, and you took too much poke damage because you played from a stupid position. You forced out a key cooldown, a key resource from your team in what is essentially the pre-fight or maybe the pre-dive, right? Because they do have an Enran and a monkey, and they're going to want to go in, right? So when we talk about turn-based Overwatch, like Monkey's got his jump, his bubble, right? But he's also wanting to look at cooldowns before he goes in, right? Like Monkey knows that if he goes in once and he gets out Lamp and Zuzu, then his next turn becomes significantly easier. So he needs to go in, get those cooldowns, come out, and then he can go in again, and there's nothing to stop him this time, right? Whereas in this situation, both Lamp and Zuzu get forced really, really early, and the Lamp at least is only for you. So Monkey thinks to himself, like, fuck yeah. Like I don't have to worry about taking 2 cycles to get these cooldowns in. I can just go in on this one, right? So I think that's like really cost your team heavily here. And there's, at this point, again, because you're so far back, your team has no cooldowns, you could actually unplug like your mouse and keyboard and it wouldn't matter. Like there's nothing else that you can do to contribute to this fight now. It is too late. I feel like we've already covered pretty much everything. I'm actually just curious how you play the final fight, the final point. I don't really care about the street phase, to be honest. If I had to make an assumption, I would say that you probably play for the higher ground, get knocked off the higher ground, and get walked on gradually. But just because I want to see if you're still stacking angles with the soldier here. So they've just capped. Alright, so our soldier is, so we actually have like a kind of interesting position now. Do you have slides available? Yep. You have 1 slide available, that's good. I'm sure that's a disruptor shot perk, just don't take that one. Alright, so our soldier's going up high, we're down here, we're not playing the same angle. In theory, it looks okay. You're now playing against a diva, which is not really like an ideal tank to play like 2 hit scans into, of course. No, I feel like we don't need to turn back here. I feel like we can keep breaking this as a mini here to help us out a bit. Let's put some pressure on. Let's build a railgun. Let's put some pressure on these players, because ultimately, like, this diva cannot kill 4 people by themselves. Like, soldier just needs to drop down, right? We don't need to help with this at all. We get a DMAC, and I guess like the DMAC, oh, we don't get a DMAC? Well, I was going to say, at least if you get a DMAC, it's like you contributed something, but the DMAC doesn't end up happening, so it's kind of just a total waste of time. And you could have held this angle for a bit, and you probably could have contested this Sombra instead of the Sombra coming in for free. So again, we're now the furthest player back on our team. Beat engage, we need to slide backwards. We need to slide backwards. Like, or if we're not sliding backwards, we need to walk backwards. They've just used sound barrier. They have effectively 3 times the health pool of your team. You cannot kill anyone for the next few seconds. So there's really, really genuinely no point in walking forwards, because you will not get a kill. They've just used sound barrier and visor. We're still standing here. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. So I think like the key thing for you is understanding like the tempo, the push-pull mechanic, understanding when it's time to walk forwards and time to walk back. Because I think like you're constantly behind your team. Like in like 80% of the team fights, the only time I can consciously remember you not being behind your team was when you pushed up here and your team was still standing back here, right? Every other fight, you're just too far behind. You're taking like Widowmaker positioning on Sojourn. So understanding like when your team has a like player advantage, it's time to like, you don't need to like go hard and fucking slide directly into their team and suicide and shit. But like, it's time to start walking forwards and leveraging our advantage, right? Like we saw it at first point. I feel like we saw it at second point. I feel like we saw it at third point attack. Like all of these attacks, like when you got confused about the cast and you spent 15 seconds just like walking back and forth on this platform, like not knowing what to do, right? you have player advantage. It's time to walk forward. Let's see what else we can get. Let's see what other value we can get. Let's see if we can snowball. You need to stop playing from behind your supports, especially these supports. If your supports were like I don't know, like a Brig and a Juno, I could like understand a world in which you might occasionally be slightly behind them, right? Because those are two supports that need to play a little bit closer to get value. But like you're behind poke supports, which means that you're simply too far back. So I think the number one thing for sure is that you need to understand like the tempo of the game better. You need to like think about like, are we walking forwards or are we walking back? Because here as well, you don't understand that your team needs to walk back to not lose, right? So I think if you can work on that, that's a key thing. I think the other thing is just thinking more about your positioning during those like potential downtimes, those like reset phases between team fights. You know, the best examples was when I was encouraging you to take this position on your attack round and you're not taking it. But like think about where your team is, think about what angles your team is holding, and think about what angles remain, and consider whether or not you want to cover those angles or whether you want to stack and have 5 people looking at the same doorway. I think if you can put more thought into those 2 key things, then that'll helpfully help you to climb a bit. Mechanics wise, like your aim's kind of like, it's like, it's not bad, it's not good. You missed a lot of rails that I'm pretty sure like were very hittable, but at the end of the day, like no one hits all their shots. And if you position better and if you understand the tempo of the game better, then you'll find yourself more often in a position where you get the opportunity to hit shots and therefore get better. Hopefully this helps. Good luck.